You're listening to the Ottawa Real Estate Podcast, brought to you by Referral Mortgages and Blue Panda Realty, with your hosts, Paul Stevenson, David Warren, and Greg Campbell. Let's see what's going on in the world of real estate in our nation's capital.
And we're back.
We're back.
Oh, yeah. I'm here.
Happy morning, gentlemen. My name is Paul Stevenson. I'm here as always with, well, as most of the time, with Greg Campbell and David Warren. Greg, welcome back. Greg is a partner. He's also an awesome real estate agent, just a top-notch human being at Blue Panda Realty. I am Paul Stevenson. I'm one of the owners and a mortgage agent at Referral Mortgages. And David Warren is also here, owner, mortgage agent at Referral Mortgages. And there's someone in the background at Greg's office having a great old morning.
I'm muting that right now.
That was an homage to Jim Brewer, my intro. I believe that was from Saturday Night Live. Yeah, we're back. Can't remember which skit, but I used to be a bit of an SNL junkie when I was younger. That was, I'd sit at home and just watch that on Saturday night. So that was my childhood.
Well, I think that's a lot of people's childhood and a lot of people's Saturday nights even now.
Yeah, there wasn't too many. I just felt like the options for TV shows back then was quite limited. You know, it's not like the plethora of YouTube unlimited videos that kids have today. We were talking the other day about childhood shows we grew up on, and I was trying to think of this one where it was like humans dressed up as animals. It was called Zoobilee Zoo. If anyone remembers Zoobilee Zoo, that was
I don't remember
a great
that.
show. This woman had this mask, and it was like a lion mask, but it went with her face and looked like she had makeup on. So that's what made me think of it. But anywho, to all you Zoobilee Zoo fans out there, shout outs to Zoobilee Zoo. How was everyone's weekend?
Great. It was my parents' 50th.
Oh, wow.
So we celebrated that. That was pretty crazy. 50 years. 50. Not 25, not 35.
Congratulations.
Yeah, thank you.
It's,
Linda Campbell and Hugh and Campbell, they gave birth to me. Well, my mother gave birth to me. She deeply regrets it every day.
Oh man, I can't even get
Anyways, that was a fun night. That's what we did. I worked yesterday. I was out seeing homes. So
nice.
That's it.
Yeah, the market's been busy. It's we've definitely seen. It's been an interesting month, I would say. The last month has been like there's been a noticeable shift. Essentially, really since the election, I would say. Like after the election, it seems like everything kind of slowed down dramatically. I don't know if that's, there's been a lot of things that happened in September, October, but what have you guys been seeing? Like, Greg, what have you been seeing while out?
Well, thanks for asking, Paul. I guess we're not going to find out about your weekends, but let's just get right into it.
I feel like we have a lot to cover today. We're gonna be tight to.
Yeah, let's do it. So it's really interesting. I've seen my buyers right now are very active again, most of them. So I've been out actively looking at homes, and what I can tell you is that there is a lot for sale. Now, to be fair, I'm seeing a little bit of a difference in Orleans versus somewhere like Barrhaven, which is, I haven't been physically looking in Barrhaven. I've only been looking east. So Ottawa, or Orleans, Beacon Hill surrounding. And I've seen, what did I see? With one set of buyers, I saw 18 properties in 2 days, and we liked none of them. None. And a lot of them are still for sale. So
top reasons?
So what does that say? I don't know. Usually if your home isn't sold in a couple of weeks or so, it means it's overpriced. Average days on market right now for row homes in Orleans, I think, is 20. So that's a big change. And there's a lot that are still active that have been on for up to 2 months, clearly overpriced.
Are they and are they in terrible shape? Like, is there a condition issue or not. Layout or anything like that? No,
they're not. Like there's some that are just, yes, there's some that are kind of, could use some updating, but there's nothing that I've seen that's been like, the only comment is this should probably be priced better. That's it. But it looks like a nice home. There's some that are new builds that I've been seeing. that were just automatically, turned into, they were basically the home buyer flipping. And those are not selling either. But I mean, a lot of those that I've seen, they're just builder grade finishes. So someone bought a house, 2.5 years ago before it was done. They did no upgrades in the house. So we're walking into it and it's like, well, laminate countertops, carpet throughout, and they're trying to get top dollar for it. It's like, well, it doesn't really work. You kind of missed the market. You're still making money, but they got to take a hit.
This might be a, pretty fair assumption given just standard kind of supply and demand. But when there's more homes out there, people are obviously very, they can be more selective, right? So 100%. You find oftentimes people are like, well, we really like this kitchen, but the backyard on 123 Main Street's much better. 100%. Let's just wait, right? So there's almost too many options where they're overly selective.
100%. And that's when it starts switching to a buyer's market, right? Now there's two things here. Orleans historically generally gets hit first when the market shifts. And it'll come up when the market changes. And we saw that happen last year. And I think we might be seeing that again. I think there might be the changes happening in the market, flipping from balance to buyers almost overnight. I don't know. I can't be certain about that. But I'm saying if it did happen, it would probably happen in Orleans because it has happened the last 2 times the market shifted. I was here for both of those. And maybe that's what we're seeing right now. Like I went out with my guys and there was one house, just a bit of scenario background on the buyers I'm talking about that I saw those homes with. So we went out again and we saw another 5 the other day. So 17 plus 5. That's crazy. I have not seen that many homes with one buyer in over 3 days. I just can't believe that I could do that. So the house that we saw was on the market at 775 in June. 775 in June. Didn't sell. Dropped to 740. Didn't sell. Relisted now 700. We submitted an offer. They got 2 other offers and sold. It's conditional now, but from what I'm gathering, I think it's back up to where I think it's over 750 that they sold, maybe over 770. So, right. It's marketing. It's the approach. Who knows where it's going, but we are seeing bigger homes at lesser price.
Mm-hmm. We haven't seen any a ripple effect on our end from an appraisal standpoint, at least not yet, but that's usually what comes next, right? Homes kind of sell for less than they're expecting. And then the appraisal comes in maybe a bit lighter than they were expecting, or even at par with what they paid, which proves the market, right? So it'll be interesting to see how the next months, especially into the winter market.
Seeing everything that I've seen right now, they'll appraise based on what we've been seeing. There's no way that none of these homes are all going to appraise well, no problem.
Yeah.
What I am seeing back to that, in Barhaven, I do know that there's still a lot of multiple offers happening and things going on, but I'm not seeing as much of that in Orleans. And again, I'm basing this on my real time work right now. So I'm probably missing a few items here, but anyways, it's good to take note. There's a lot out there to see. So if you've been sitting on the sidelines waiting, I think now is a good time to do it, to buy. Yeah.
When historically do you see, there's a lot of listings right now. I would imagine a lot of those people are trying to get rid of the properties prior to the winter. When do you usually see those listings, people take them off, right? We're going to wait till the spring now. Is that usually for snowfall before leading up to Christmas? What's kind of that cutoff?
I think a lot of the people trying to sell right now are either looking to get out before Christmas or end of January. So you're going to start seeing more January closings, but I don't think I always think it's a big mistake to take your home off the market and wait because there's going to be less people shopping, but the people that are shopping are going to be much more serious as it gets closer to Christmas and over the holidays. So, I would just keep it on. But I mean, historically, yeah, the end of November, December, it starts to really, really drop down in terms of listings coming out.
I think to that point, Greg, I think it's, leaving on the market, but also then reevaluating a pricing strategy. Yeah, sure. You're saying about those other people are priced too high, instead of doing small drops, do a larger one, you get more eyes on the property and have a better chance of moving it, right? As opposed to pulling it off and waiting a few months.
And it's hard It's hard for us to price right now. Like we're looking at things and then you still get that anomaly. Like I'll be here one day looking, okay, well, I'm going to price this house based on these sales. And then it's leading me to like a certain number, and then the next day, this other one sells for like 30,000 more. And you're like, well, this one that I'm about to list looks closer to that. But then it's like, is that going to happen again on the one that I'm listing? And what if it doesn't? So these are the conversations. It's just not, it's challenging. Not like I don't like it. I love what I do.
It sounds like you're saying there's value in working with a realtor when selling your home.
Paul, hit that one on the head of the nail. I could not, honestly, and I'm not saying anything here about our industry or whatnot, but selling your house on your own right now, I would never want to be doing that. I would never want to be doing that. Because you definitely do not know what you think you know. There's no way. It's impossible.
Yeah. I mean, even you, like we talk every week and it's always been like, how many times in the last 6 months have we heard you say like pricing is challenging right now? So imagine having no insight into the market.
Yeah.
Other than just like what your neighbors told you their place sold for a year ago or something like that, or what you're hearing from friends maybe. So there was a big, interview or segment on CBC Marketplace, which we're going to touch on a bit later in the episode. And they talked about this specifically. So obviously that was a soft point of a segue, but so market wise, I know Dave and I also, just to touch on rates quickly and where they're heading, we did attend the Mortgage Professionals Conference, which is a national conference for mortgage agents across the country last week. And Benjamin Tall, who's the kind of chief economist for CIBC, was talking about inflation and where they see rates heading, and he is fearful of the government increasing rates in a short period of time too quickly, like basically waiting, not increasing them gradually, but basically waiting until a point of no return and then making a massive increase to rates, which could cause essentially a recession because a lot of people aren't going to be able to kind of afford those new stress tests. So he believes that, he kind of advises Bank of Canada as well. And he's been saying that they need to slow it down, but not shock it. So he's hoping that they can do it a bit more gradually as opposed to just kind of waiting it out as long as they can, which would obviously keep in the short term variable rates and kind of the cost of borrowing low. But then when things do recover or, it'll happen too rapidly where it'll then cause a negative effect, which is very. I think
there's also an article this past week on the topic of rates and the spread between variable and fixed. So in the past, typically it's a 90-10. So 90% of people take fixed, 10% variable. And now with bond rates and fixed rates having gone up over the last couple of weeks, that there's a huge shift to people taking variable because the spread between variable and fixed is over 0.75%. So now it's about a 50-50 people taking variable, which is a huge shift when you and it is a really good rate product to look at if you're getting in, you're looking at refinancing or looking at buying. Certainly looking strongly at variable. I know Paul and I are huge believers of it, and we kind of preach to its benefits. But we're seeing a big spread between those. So certainly as that's an interesting shift. And I think what Benjamin Tall was talking about was in the increasing of bank prime and increasing of those rates for variable. Typically it's done at a quarter point at a time, as opposed to, waiting, like Paul said, where, maybe they wait until too late and just try and jump, big leaps and bounds, as opposed to a quarter point, wait maybe 3-6 months, let the market, adjust, and then another gradual increase, which is how they've typically done it historically. But
those are my key tips. Take variable, buy in the winter. Those are my real estate tips for today.
Like, do any of these people making these policies, like, do they have any idea what they're doing? Like, how do they even do this? It's just like, they're like, yeah, well,
it's good to know that people like this are actually advising them, right? I mean, they have the right people.
Sure.
They're talking to the right people. Now, they are obviously in charge of many policies, so it would be hard to be kind of an expert in all of them. But if you're at the Bank of Canada, for example, like, you should have the same or similar insight to someone like Benjamin, right? Who has that kind of in it. But you're right. If you're making these changes and it affects the country, I mean, even he was talking about the stress test for non-insured buyers. So people, putting more than 20% down, also having that same stress test. He's like, that in itself will, that could decrease the market by, I think he said it was something like, it could plunge like 50% or something like that because of that one change. So like, there's a lot of small things that, we've talked about may not make a big impact, but you go way too far. Like you pull the trigger on too many things too quickly, then you start seeing, like you go too far, it goes too far to one side, and then you're not finding a middle ground. You're just taking it from the right and directing it all the way to the left instead of finding somewhere in the middle.
And that's the thing I worry about sometimes when you have someone like that advising, good advice, sound advice, and then they're like, well, you know what?
We'll take it into consideration, Benjamin.
We know that you don't think we should do that, but we're probably going to do it anyways.
Mm-hmm.
Because
Let's
that's
roll
what
the
we
dice.
think. Let's roll the dice. Shut her down.
Oh man. One more just quick update. I know we've been talking about Evergrande a lot over the last couple months. The head of the Central Bank of China, People's Bank of China, I think it's called. He was saying that they believe that they'll be able to contain the Evergrande issue within China. Not that I think he can say anything else, but that is his public statement that they feel they should be able to contain it within China so that they won't have that ripple effect we've been kind of worrying about.
You just said it, Paul. You're like, that's what they said. That's what they're saying. That's what they're trying to make you believe, possibly. That's exactly what happened when the Lehman Brothers thing happened. They were like, no, it's good. We're going to be contained right before it went down.
But it is something where the Chinese government could also just wipe that debt instead of having their whole economy collapse. They might be looking at it as, well, we'll just take over these assets, or we will clear this debt, collapse the company, take over this debt though, sell it to, a state-owned company or what have you, so that there isn't that ripple effect of
every
300 billion
in China is state-owned.
Yeah. It's 300
or
but 300 billion is a lot of money. It's a lot of money, but when you're talking about China's economic, policy, 300 billion really isn't anything.
Yeah.
To them. So yeah, I think that'll be like you said, it'll be interesting to see whether it's lip service or whether it is like, kind of that lead up of like, no, the sky's not falling. And then Lehman Brothers, it's fallen.
Shut down Evergrande, let BlackRock reign, right? let's see what happens next.
So before we hop into the marketplace shenanigans from this week, Greg, are you ready for everyone's favorite segment?
What do we got? Is there a countdown thing here now?
Yeah.
It's 3, 2, 1.
Who wants to be a listing agent?
Get that timer going.
Here we go. So we got 2 listings today, Greg.
Okay. Here we are. First up, we have 2278 Descartes Street in Orleans, aka Orléans. This one's listed at $620,000. Are you looking for a 3-bedroom row home in Orleans, but always finding it a challenge to get the right home on the right lot? Well, this may be the home for you. This Cardell-built Briarwood model on Descartes gives you great interior space from top to bottom, as well as that extra exterior space you're looking for. Bright and spacious with 9-foot ceilings and hardwood throughout the main level, upgraded tile flooring in the foyer and 2-piece bath, open concept kitchen with island, granite countertops and breakfast bar. This space is ideal for entertaining. Upstairs, you'll find a fabulous master bedroom with walk-in closet and large master bathroom, including a double sink for your convenience. Secondary bedrooms are a great size for a growing family, and the laundry is just down the hall. The fully finished basement is super cozy for a night in with its rich color. Out back, you'll find a huge 2-tier PVC deck, gazebo setup, and storage shed. This space is perfect for summer barbecues. Come and see what this home has to offer. Listed by yours truly, Greg Campbell.
That was a good one. That was that tub just makes you want to hop in and soak up the sun.
It's a good listing, and the cool thing
there's a window in there.
It's 120 feet deep in Orleans, and like a set of rows. You don't usually find that, so it's long. All right.
Okay.
Number 2.
So number 2, what do we got here? Give me 1 second here. I'm ready. Are we ready? Stephen, line it up. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to 2210 Loyola Avenue, Unit 2. This one is listed with Jose Lindsay at Blue Panda Realty for $369,900. Charming 3-bedroom townhill in Beacon Hill. This freshly painted home with wood trim accents is a cozy getaway just minutes away from downtown. Enjoy beautiful stripped hardwood floors on the main level, along with a gas fireplace with bricks around. An updated kitchen opens up to a dining room and spacious living room, which is perfect for entertaining. Upstairs, you'll find a generous primary bedroom with stripped hardwood floors, 2 additional bedrooms, and a main bathroom. The basement was recently updated with spray foam insulation and new drywall 2021, which makes it a perfect space for a family room, office, or playroom, complete with a 3-piece bathroom and a good-sized laundry and storage room. Enjoy a private backyard with interlock and storage shed. This home is located in sought-after Beacon Hill North, known for its great schools, including Colonel By, close to the 417, the Montreal Road LRT station, Sensplex, Parks, Shoppings, restaurants. No conveyance of offers until 3 p.m. October 19th, which is today, according to this video. Listen at $369,900. 3-bed, 3-bath. Come check it out.
Ooh, that was a good one. Well done. That is, yes,
Thanks.
that is today, according to this video.
According to this the release of this podcast. Yeah. So anyways,
I'm a
great
sucker
little listing.
for exposed wood, like those wood door frames and such. Dave, I know you have a couple too, with the old banister and stuff. Like I just love any like original wood framing. I find just pulls me in. I like those doors too. That's a very unique layout on the main floor.
Oh yeah, it is.
If anyone's listening, I'd encourage you to go check that video out on YouTube.
Yeah.
The listeners must hate these segments, eh? Like Greg's just talking, look at that photo.
Yeah, right.
Just go to YouTube and check it out. So Marketplace, Greg, let's get into it, because I know this is I actually had, so the gentleman that emailed us about the foreign buyers that Dave and I talked about last week from China, he actually responded saying, thanks for talking about it. He actually didn't want us to send him a mug. He's like, the carbon footprint is probably large enough already on that mug. I'll wait till I'm back in Ottawa. Very conscious human being. But then he actually said, did you see the Marketplace? And that's actually where I first heard about it. And then you sent the video. Then we talked about it. Obviously it's too long to play here, but Greg, maybe give us the Coles notes on what the Marketplace was about. And then we can kind of jump into our thoughts on it.
So CBC Marketplace a couple of days ago was basically talking about agent commissions or agents steering buyers away from certain homes because they weren't offering a full 2.5% commission, which has been traditionally the paid out commission for the last however long. I don't know, for a long time in Ontario.
40 years.
40, which is, crazy. And we've talked about it before, saying like, how can we justify getting that regardless of inflation and everything? If that was what it was 40 years ago, the prices of homes were $100,000, now a house is $1 million, we should still be getting that 5%. The jury's out on that. A lot of people think we're worth it. Some people think we aren't. So that's it. It's always individual experience and what Now, what I do want to, I had a bunch of comments that I was going to lay out, but then I spoke with my colleague Nicholas Crouch, who's in the office with me today, and he made a really great Reddit post, and I'm just going to read from his because it touches on everything in perfect fashion, I will say. So let me just get into the basics of this, the main points. Let me just see here. Some of the agents in Marketplace, definitely, it was terrible. I'm glad they were exposed. They shouldn't be doing what they were doing. So let's get into this note. Thoughts are, here's from Nick. My thoughts aren't a defense of the industry, just merely points I picked while watching this video in its entirety. Number one, they're generalizing about commission rates. They actually have no way of knowing what the average commission rate is for any one area. Even if the real estate agent is wrong, even the real estate agent is wrong saying it's 5% in Ontario always. That's just nonsense. Number two, it seems that the agent would be working for me and my best interests. That's what someone said in the interview. Incorrect. It depends what type of agency relationship there is. A client relationship affords a much higher degree of service and fiduciary obligation as opposed to a customer relationship. Number three, good for Realtor 1 doing his job. Can't wait to hear about Realtor 2 and 3 and how they've been fired. So there was one agent when the Marketplace people were undercover that said he was happy to take the 1% commission and he wasn't going to steer them away from the listing because of that. But he agreed that other agents probably would. And there's two others who were clearly steering the buyers away from the listing. You can see it. Everybody should watch this episode. It was wild. Number 4. I think it's much easier for owners to have a rough idea of price on their home now more than ever, but unfortunately, access to a little bit of information makes everyone think they're a professional. Without knowing the exact home, it's very possible that the home had been overpriced. That comment comes from the seller of a home that was listed by herself, saying that, no, I know my house is worth what it is. I priced it according to my studies and everything. It's, I think we said that earlier. Sure, you can do that, but do you really know what it should be priced at if you haven't had any professionals in through your home? How can you consider yourself? How do you know if it's priced well if you're not a professional in the industry? I agree 100% with that. Number 5, there's some great examples of rates in different countries. The only issue is that the average prices are completely different than here. And in the way that homes are sold, different, like it's different all over the world. Slovenia is roughly $300,000 average. South Korea would be around 100,000. Australia is almost $1 million. So, what he says at the end here, I guess I'm getting at is, yes, there are absolutely horrible people in the industry. Commissions are just one part, I think, of a larger puzzle that needs to be fixed. So there's actually a follow-up. There was a response here asking Nick about the agency thing, saying a client relationship, what type of agency relationship. He says, I'd love some more explanation on this. I've never heard of a customer relationship with a realtor. As far as I can tell online, it doesn't exist in practice for a buyer. I thought that was especially interesting. So we need to talk about that another time too. The client and customer relationship with agents.
So I think for everyone that's listening, to give a little bit of a Coles Notes of the start of what this episode for CBC Marketplace is for sale by owner. She listed her house in Toronto, in I think Vaughan, busy area, but listed the house offering 1% commission to the buyer agent, and that was it. And then it stood, sat on the market. The marketplace investigator with hidden camera called up random agents to have them take them through, set up the criteria to match exactly to what this property is, to see if they would be shown it, if they would be, what kind of information or feedback they'd receive. And to Greg's point, the first guy didn't care about that it was only 1% commission, was happy to show the property. The other two were terrible agents and directed people blatantly away from the property and made up reasons why they wouldn't show it or that it wasn't wasn't suitable.
Yeah. I suppose I should have said that before I started talking about everything else. Hey, David, thank you.
No. I mean, no.
Let's reverse that.
Yeah.
No one knows the story yet. Yeah.
Yeah. It's like you said, it is a good episode to certainly watch. And there are a lot of, we've talked about them before. There's a lot of, in every industry, there's a lot of crummy people in every industry that don't put their clients first and look at their bottom line first. And in the case of this, the two that they showed, but there's also a lot of information missing, like Nick was pointing out on this as well. What type of buyer arrangement they have, whether, anything like that. What the actual comparables, like you said, was it actually priced properly? Yes, it's out of the market for a while, but it's kind of being left out of what comparables were being used in order to price that property and where she derived that purchase price or sell.
And that's the thing too. Like at the end of the episode, it says so her house was on the market for 3 months and the right person came along at the right time and she got basically close to asking price. Sure. Now, so there's another thing. Does that mean in those 3 months in Vaughan, because it looked like it was clearly beginning of spring, summer market or whatever, and we know that prices were going up steadily. So did her house suddenly come up in value because of the market? Was everything selling $200,000 more after the time that they started that interview until the time that it was done? Mm-hmm. That's another factor. Who knows?
So what bothered me about the episode, I think I always like hidden camera stuff like that because you get to see, true intentions of people. But I found that the episode itself was almost steering in its own right. Like they were looking for,
totally.
They knew what they were looking for, and they were basically finding agents that would do that. Like 3 is a pretty small sample size to use, I would say, from a realtor standpoint. And I also think that she's underestimating. Forget about the number, the 5%, but I think she's underestimating the home seller. I think she's underestimating the value that you do get in working with a realtor. You know, like she was saying that a home down the street got 20 showings and hers got one. Well, the realtor probably invested $5,000, $10,000 into the marketing, which got those 20 people through the door. So it's not as simple as just throw a sign on your lawn and people are going to start knocking. Like there is a network that realtors have access to, not only your own colleagues and people that you've worked with in the past and existing clients and all of that, but there's also money that you're investing up front. You might be putting, $3,000 to $5,000 into the listing without having any guarantee it's going to sell. Right. And that's a risk you're taking as a real estate agent to list that property. So by not taking that risk or by not investing in a real estate agent, like it is an investment. You're investing in them X amount % of your sale to get it sold quickly and at top dollar. That's essentially, in my mind, what you'd be using a real estate agent for. It took her 3 months, right, to sell her home. It might have taken 3 weeks if she had used an agent that priced it properly and got the right people through and so on. Like a lot of, and correct me if I'm wrong, Greg, a lot of selling a home is getting people excited about potentially living there. Like that is your job. And if you're just putting a sign on the lawn and waiting for people to show up, well, nobody's getting excited about your house. Nobody's interested in living there. Nobody cares really, right? It has to be in front of the right people that are going to get others excited to maybe potentially live in that home and be a homeowner. So I think there was a lot of gaps in the story. I think, as you said, like agent 2 and 3 were, clearly trying to not go see the property. But even when they were just calling people asking about their commissions, like if someone calls you today and says, what's your standard commission? Well, 4 to 5%. Like it's just, you're obviously going to get that answer because you're not investing any time into that real estate agent. So why would you expect someone that you're cold calling to invest 2 hours of their time to educate you on listing your home when you could hire them and they'll give you all of their expertise, If someone cold calls me and asks me directly, like in the first conversation, what's your commission rate? My answer to them is this: it depends if we sit down and have a conversation and decide that we want to work together. Right. That's all I say to them. They say, so is it 5? Is it 2? I'm like, I'm not answering that question. I'm like, I don't even know if I want to work with you. You just called me and you're asking me about my commission. I'm like, based on that alone, I already don't want to work with you. I go, so why don't we sit down? And if I say it like that, usually they're like, oh yeah, when you think of it, when I say it that way, it's like you can't, people come in being aggressive about rates. Then why am I going to want to waste any time with a person like that? I know that it's going to be a nightmare from the first step, right? I know not everyone's, been doing it long enough or has the kind of business set up where they can decline those calls. But I mean, they should let those people sell their homes on their own. Let them do it if they don't see our value.
I think there was, I think Nick made some very good points. And I think one of his last ones that there are a number of, there are issues in the industry that, do need to get sorted out. I thought the biggest takeaway on my end of that whole episode was actually near the end, where it was trying to reach Korea, trying to reach Rico, trying to reach their MPP. Yeah. And brutal. They were basically like none of them responding, none of them giving a coherent, response or even picking up the phone and conversing with them. I thought that was very intriguing, like that Korea and Rico were just like, file a complaint if you want. And that was it.
I mean, they did send a letter to every real estate agent in Canada saying about that specific tactic.
Yeah,
for sure. But it wasn't, but they didn't have a conversation with the individual that was raising a concern. It was, that was doing this.
We're making assumptions though, that's their responsibility is to respond to that individual person forming a complaint. I mean, they may have their own processes. And I mean, we're also getting, like I said, we're getting it from a news source that's specifically trying to expose them. So, I mean, they might have made one call, got a voicemail and been like, well, we're done. We're not trying again. They didn't answer, we don't know all the facts.
I do agree. I will say that if they didn't pick up the phone and have a conversation and they just sent an email out or a newsletter out to every realtor, means that they actioned what was being told to them, but without actually conversing with the individual, with the investigative reporter from CBC to discuss it further, what kind of actions they may be taking or things that they've been seeing in the market. Like there wasn't really any
back and forth
follow-up and clearly there wasn't. Otherwise, I feel like they would have been included. I thought that was just, and the MP not taking responsibility or, and just sending it back as well and not really responding at all. That's what I thought was surprising. It was kind of just a running around in circles.
That whole marketplace, like I agreed with a lot of it. Like, the basis of it was there, but like you said, Dave, there was so many things that were missed. Like you could do an hour and a half documentary on that shit.
I actually went back to the end of the video because it just basically cut off. And I was like, that can't be the end of the episode, is it? Like it just kind of like, she was like, and then we sold our home and then bloop, it just stopped. I was like, what is that? That can't be the end. There's got to be some sort of summary or conclusion. Like what's going on here?
Anyone listening right now, I want everybody to watch that because, it's not to say that it doesn't exist, but I also want everybody listening. If you have never sold a home before, or if you haven't bought a home, whoever you meet, and I advise you to meet more than one person, ask them these questions. Ask them these questions and ask them why. Tell the agent, go like, why? Why do you charge 5%? If they can't answer you in a way that makes you understand why they should be paid that much or shouldn't, then they should not be in the business, period, as far as I'm concerned. Just ask them the question. People, buyers and sellers do not ask the question enough. It's like they're afraid. They're just like, take me by the hand, and then they just don't, they're not investing enough time in learning from the people that they're supposed to be getting the sound advice, the best advice from. And that's what I find frustrating. It's the people that have bad experiences. A lot of them put themselves in that situation with the wrong people because they don't ask the right questions. So follow to a rep and ask the right questions.
I was what's the word? It was interesting. I'll just keep it very broad. It was interesting that she used a dollar amount instead of a commission number. Like she's like, well, this would be $14,000 if they bought it. Like she was actually using dollar figures, which I'm sure is eye-opening for a lot of people because when you think like 5%, it's like, well, what's 5%? It's like, well, it's actually $75,000. So has there ever been talk, Greg, of there just being like flat fees associated as opposed to
There are some brokerages that do flat fees. There are some brokerages that'll do flat fees, or you can put it in a commission. Like if you list a property and the seller says, we're going to offer 10 grand flat fee, 5 for you, 5 for the other person, you take it or leave it. Right.
Because you would agree. And I know we've talked about this before that, the marketing involved in selling a $500,000 home is maybe slightly less, but very equivalent to selling $1 million home. Right. But you're getting double the commission for the $1 million home as opposed to the $500,000.
This is the thing. And a lot of people will base it on like you said, how much is the investment? So that's the thing that you need to know, because like you said, like imagine you're an agent, you're going to list a $1.4 million property, like on Marketplace, and the commission seems, it's crazy. I'm not going to pay that 2.5. But then you talk to the agent and they say like, well, I'm doing this, I'm doing this, I'm doing this, I'm doing this. And I'm not guaranteed that I'm going to sell. Maybe especially at the price that you're suggesting, because I don't think it's worth that money. So, but these are the conversations that apparently don't happen. Well, don't happen with that certain lady on Marketplace anyways, right? They need
we should have brought her on, and we should have found her and brought her.
I mean, and to be fair, like if you aren't showing a home that has a $14,000 commission, because what, you want 28,000? Get the hell out, get out of here. Mm-hmm. Like I don't understand. I don't understand people like that. Like steering your client away from that. You must be doing what, 2 deals a year, and you're definitely not in the business if you're doing 2 deals a year. Fuck you.
That'll be the headline for this episode.
Seriously, but that's what happens, and those are the agents that give us a bad name because we give a shit. We work hard, and we've established over the years to do better and help people and learn. And then people like that, they're in and out. They don't give a shit. They're in here for the money. And then Marketplace does a story. And then those are the people that you see, of course, because why would Marketplace take the time to go deal with some top agents and see how they really see things? I believe that's a big part of what happened there in that episode.
That's what I was saying. Like
three is the right people.
3 is such a small sample size, and they're obviously picking the ones that support the narrative that they're talking about, right?
Exactly.
Like if they interviewed 100 top agents, they're not going to get that. They're not going to get the answers they got. Like, oh, we tried calling, and like, they're not going to get that.
They're not. And they called a few, I guess, from like different provinces, and they all say, the same thing. My it's 5%. I don't negotiate my commission. I'm not saying that you're not going to get people that don't say that. You will a lot. But again, where's the follow through? Where is the rest of the conversation? Even Marketplace didn't ask why. Why is it 5%? No one asked the question.
Right.
Start over. Start over. Do that whole show again.
We'll make sure to
put the
link. We'll put the link to the video on the comments of the YouTube, just so that people can easily click on it and visit it. I want to keep going on this, but we're well over time here, gentlemen. So I feel like we should.
I'm heading out to show more homes. I'm working. Working for my happy buyers.
I feel like we need to bring up Greg's mood here.
Yeah, it's good.
needs to be boosted.
Oh, I'm jacked.
I got some good ones today, though. Got some good ones.
Do it.
There's 5.
Oh,
going all in here. Number 1.
Hit me.
I got arrested over the weekend for downloading the whole Wikipedia. I told them I could explain everything. My wife and I had a huge argument about who will do the laundry. Eventually, I folded.
Yes.
I don't mean to brag, but cashiers always check me out.
I like that one.
Number 4. Did you know that French fries weren't actually cooked in France? They were cooked in Greece. I think you hit it a little too early there.
You hit it before. That was
was that a punchline?
The delivery was great on that one.
Did you know the French,
wait a minute.
Did you know the first French fries weren't actually cooked in France? They were cooked in Greece. There we go.
There we go. The redo.
Number 5. We're all about Europe right now. I'm starting a new dating service in Prague. It's called Checkmate. Checkmate.
Okay.
Pretty good. Those are much better than last week's.
Those are all Bill. All dad.
Nice.
Yeah.
Good episode.
Good episode. I think we're going to get some
interesting
with you
fellas. I'm happy to be back.
Yeah, you're looking vibrant. I think we'll get some interesting feedback on the Marketplace stuff, and I agree. I think everyone should watch it, and we welcome comments, and we'll do a little follow up next week to see what everyone's thoughts are, because I'm sure a lot of people haven't been put onto it yet. So that's it.
Yeah. All right,
gentlemen.
Love you guys.
Great. Okay, we'll see you guys. We'll see everyone next week. Thanks as always for listening. Quick shout out, which I forgot to do at the beginning, to northbrew.ca. If you use the promo code podcast, you'll get 20% off your coffee orders. And we love their coffee. We do.
We
love you. Thanks for listening. We'll see you next week. Deuces.
Bye.
Deuces.
The Ottawa Real Estate Podcast is brought to you by Referral Mortgages, Blue Panda Realty, and Stephen Hopkins Video. Thanks for tuning in, and please remember to like, comment, share, and most importantly, subscribe. We'd love to hear from you.